Hi there summoners, GuardianE here with another live reaction and first impression video for Fire Emblem Heroes. And tonight we are getting the reveal of the next, is it Mythic or is it Legendary? I've actually lost track. It doesn't matter. We're getting the reveal of them today. We've got the trailer pulled up here. We're going to watch it together for the first time. It's also going to be the return of Legendary Camilla. Just FYI, which does of course mean that I will be summoning on this banner. It doesn't matter who is on this banner. We're going to be going to the Spark. But anyway, that aside, we got the trailer pulled up. Let's go ahead and play it and just react raw to who gets revealed and take a closer look at the kit of the new hero. So here we go. I'll wait for the HUD to leave so I don't get spoiled. All right. So who we got? New Mythic Heroes. Oh, Healing Nectar. Heiðrún.
The nectar of the healing hands.
Oh, so she's gonna be an infantry beast unit. Oh, look at the sprite. Nectar, Horn, Aegis, Stronghold. Interesting for the A slot. AD Bulwark 4, Divine Nectar. It leads me to, it seems like she's gonna be a tanky unit. Nectar heals illness and poison, reduces foes' attack and defense. Heals poison. Huh. Interesting. That is a big bunny. That is a big bunny. Oh, wow. Okay, so she's going to be super tanky. Heal after combat. Huh. And healing, okay, at the start. Wow, bringing down beams too? That's a cool attack. Oh, getting the beefy man. Quieting strength. Alright, getting some beefcake in the door. So he is going to be Cavalry Beast Unit. Quieting Antler. Fierce Beast for the special. Could be a Beast exclusive special. Excel, Divine Strength, Beast Threaten for the C slot. A Healing Hand who uses his body as the ultimate blade and shield can increase he and his allies' bounties? Is that what that said? Oh, look at how... Oh, look at it. Oh, the uppercut! His beast form is cool. I like the beast form of both of them. It looks really neat. Alright, and here he comes. Look at how big he is. Hulking muscle of a hulking mass of a muscle of a man. Alright, so he's gonna be colorless and she's gonna be green. Really? That is intriguing. That is quite intriguing to me. Alincia, Gavasir, Camilla, of course, Alir. Azura, really? Loki? Jeez, both of those colors seem stacked. Alright, we're gonna definitely take a look at those. Immediately piquing my interest. So, once again, starting on the 26th of July and going for about 2 weeks, actually a little over 2 weeks, it looks like. Alright, so we got ourselves a double Mythic Hero banner, double Mythics, Heiðrún and Eikbyrnir. I'm not sure. So Heiðrún we've seen introduced relatively recently, and Eikþyrnir, obviously we've seen previews of him since the very start of the book. Both of their designs I think really awesome, just in general, especially even amongst like all of the designs for this particular book. I think they're pretty masterclass. If we take a look at Heiðrún here, she's got that soft, solemn, gentle vibe to her. It definitely reminds me of Peko Mama, if you are familiar with VTubers or HoloLive in general. It does feel like there is a bit of a resemblance there with the little ears that they kind of resemble rabbit ears, but lovely braids in her hair with the actual ornaments at the ends, giving it almost a bladed look. It almost makes it feel like her mane or her hair is weaponized. The horn, giant horn that she's cradling in her arms, it looks she's almost mummified with all of the wraps around her. Again, kind of leaning into the theme of her being a healer, right? And a very tanky one at that, apparently. She's got this feminine, matronly charm to her. Phenomenal figure. I love the ethereal glow from her eyes and just as the outline of her as a whole. So if we take a look at her kit, Nectar Horn is going to be her weapon, 14 might, killer slaying effect. At start of player phase or enemy phase, if any foes within 3 rows or 3 columns centered on unit have res less than unit's res plus 5, inflicts attack defense -7, discord, deep wounds, and a penalty that neutralizes non-special if foe would reduce unit's HP to 0, unit survives with 1 HP effect on those foes through their next actions. So neutralizing miracle as well. So that's interesting. It seems like she causes a bit of a ruckus, not just being kind of a healer type. If foe initiates combat or foe's HP is at least 75% at the start of combat, inflicts attack defense -6 on foe. Inflicts penalty on foe's attack and defense equal to 20% of units' res at the start of combat, reduces damage from foe's attacks by 20% of units' res, excluding AoE specials, neutralizes foe's bonuses to attack and defense from Rally and Fortify, and grants special cooldown charge +1 to unit per attack during combat, only highest value applied, does not stack. So all of kind of like the traditional stuff, you know, you're looking at an in-combat debuff to the enemy's specific stat line that's going to inhibit their ability to do damage to her, as well as allow her to do more damage by attacking their defense stat. Some fixed damage built in, neutralizing bonuses, and also giving her sort of a blade effect to gain additional special charge. At start of turn, if unit is adjacent to only... So, the beast transformation requirement. If the unit transforms, gains attack +2, deals +7 damage when special triggers, neutralizes effects that grant special cooldown charge +X to foe, or inflict special cooldown charge -X on units. So, preventing a guard effect on her, and then putting a guard effect on the enemy, in addition to the fixed true damage of +7 when the special procs, in addition to the +2. Aegis for the special, if foe is within 2 spaces of unit, reduces damage from foe's attack by 50%. So that's interesting because her weapon has deals +7 damage when special triggers. So that's kind of odd to be tied to a defensive special like she has here. Stronghold for the A slot inflicts attack -3, grants defense res +7. At start of player phase or enemy phase, neutralizes panic and any penalties on unit defense or res that take effect on unit at this time. Oh, okay. Attack defense bulwark 4, going to prevent units from moving past her. She's effectively going to be a formidable wall. And inflicts attack defense -4 on foe, reduces damage from foe's first attack by 40% as well, including brave attacks, and then restores 7 HP to unit after combat. Now her unique C slot, Divine Nectar. At start of player phase or enemy phase, if unit is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants Divine Nectar to unit and allies within 2 spaces of unit for 1 turn. So let's take a look at what Divine Nectar is. It neutralizes deep wounds during combat, and also restores 20 HP to unit as combat begins. Triggers after effects that deal damage as combat begins, only highest value applied, does not stack. If it is unit's first combat initiated by foe or first combat initiated by unit that turn, reduces damage from foes' attacks by 10 during combat. So that is going to be a fixed value damage reduction built in addition to the healing as combat begins. So she's going to be one that actually is a specific counter to... well, a lot of units at this point, but I'll just say Legendary Camilla's as combat begins, Golvig's as combat begins, Leon's as combat begins. So, as combat begins, effectively, she's going to be able to grant Divine Nectar to her allies, which is going to allow them to have the ability to combat that without having something innate in their kit. So, yeah, I don't know. The whole you know, I know there had to be a counter, effectively, to the as combat begins. Feels a little slapped on as a counter, but it is what it is. If a rally or movement assist skill is used by ally with the Divine Nectar, effect active grants another action to that ally. What? Wait. If a movement assist skill or rally is used by an ally, so Divine Nectar also gives you a free refresh upon using an assist? Really? Once per turn, if another effect that grants action to unit has been activated, this effect is also considered to have been triggered. Okay. I mean, that means you can't dance that Divine Nectared character and then use an assist and then get another action. Even so, That's a busted that's a busted buff. If unit is within 3 spaces of an ally, inflicts attack defense -5 on foe, inflicts special cooldown charge -1 on foe per attack during combat as well. Only highest value applies. So even notwithstanding, even if she hasn't actually transformed, she's still going to get like a guard effect on the enemy just from Divine Nectar, like innately, if unit is within 3 spaces of an ally, which is, again, that ain't a difficult condition to meet. And then having some in-combat debuffs, once again, that stack onto the attack and defense debuffs that are throughout her kit. Yeah, so Divine Nectar is ridiculous. That status effect is amazing for so many reasons. Not only for the deep wound removal, but also the innate healing, and then the ability to give yourself another action upon an assist as well. Like, all of that stuff allows so many strategic movement capabilities, and she just grants that to all allies within range, which is really, really potent. Like, that's extremely powerful and opens up so many doors in terms of like leapfrogging characters and using them to kind of refresh themselves to move into combat, and fully utilize movement type assists to their advantage. Yeah, there's just a lot going on there. Her Nectar heals illness and poison, reduces foes' attack and defense, endures by healing before and after combat. Yeah, that skill is ridiculous. Again, she does heal here. She's super tanky, as one would expect. Aegis procs, so she gets that damage reduction built in there as well. And then here she is on her player phase, so attacking into Ashura, and then the Divine Nectar once again, raining down. All right, next up we've got Eikþyrnir. I'm sure I'm butchering it. But he is going to be a cavalry beast unit, colorless. And we've seen his design throughout all of the different movies, the introduction of the book and everything. Really cool design. I like that he's bringing the beefcake. He's got those strong arms, big hands. He's got that kind of strong jawline and the broad shoulders. You know, he's got the power builder look, defined muscles. His weapon even looks like a free weight, which is really fun. He even has something of a monk or a brutish look with the just the raw hide around his hips. As well as the symbol up front, and then the glowing ephemeral antlers that kind of are sprouting off of his chest and then framing around him almost like a hood. It's a really cool design. The mask is really nice as well, and the earth tones throughout the entire outfit do lend themselves, I think, to the overall just raw strength appeal of the character design. So Quieting Antler is going to be his weapon, 14 might, enables Kanto 2, Killer Slaying effect. At start of combat, or at start of turn, excuse me, if unit is within 2 spaces of an ally, grants attack defense +6 and bonus doubler to unit, and allies within 2 spaces of unit for 1 turn. Okay. If unit is within 2 spaces of an ally, and if unit and allies within 2 spaces of unit have bonuses to attack to all stats after start of turn skills trigger, grant an additional +3 to each corresponding stat for unit and those allies for 1 turn. Calculates each stat bonus independently, max 10. That is unusual. So that's kind of an enhancer to the buff, right? That he already gets. The condition is the same though, if he's within 2 spaces of an ally. But yeah, that effectively means that he gets an additional +3 to enhance an existing buff. So +9 in the case of attack and defense that we know he's already getting from Quieting Antler. And then max 10, of course, but that's also presumably going to work in tandem with bonus doubler. So that's going to be enhanced by bonus doubler and made that much stronger. If unit initiates combat or unit is within 2 spaces of an ally, inflicts penalty on foes attack and defense equal to 6, plus 20% of unit's defense at start of combat. Unit deals +X damage. X equals the highest total bonuses among unit and allies within 3 spaces of unit, excluding AoE specials, and reduces damage from foes' attacks by 50% of X. At start of turn, if unit is adjacent to only... Okay, so transformation condition. If he is able to transform, grants attack +2, and then attack defense -Y on foe during combat, where Y is the number of spaces from start to end. Okay, so a clash effect. +3, max 6. I see. So at the bare minimum, it's 3. He's always going to have attack defense -3 on the enemy, and then it's going to be enhanced that much further, depending on how far he's moved. Also, if Y is greater than or equal to 5, reduces damage from foes' first attack by 30% during combat. Fierce Beast for the special. Boosts special damage by X% of units attack when special triggers. If transformed, X is 25, otherwise X equals 20. If special triggers, neutralizes foes, reduces damage by X% effects from non-special skills. Alright, so it's a 2 cooldown special, which of course means it's a 1 cooldown special because he has a killer slaying effect. It's going to scale off of his attack stat, which is already very solid because he's going to want as much attack as possible anyway. So the fact that it scales off of that is already going to be good. And then it's going to do that much more of a percentage if he's transformed, but even a decent amount, even if he's not transformed. And then it has damage reduction nullification, which is very good. Obviously very good. That's kind of like the creme de la creme of specials now, is where they have damage reduction nullification. And now beasts have that in their pocket as well at this point. Attack Defense Excel. If unit or foe initiates combat after moving to a different space, grants Attack Defense +6 and Attack Defense +X to unit during combat, where X is the number of spaces, max 4. And also, if unit initiates combat, reduces damage from foes' attacks by X times 3 during combat, excluding AoE specials. Alright, so he's got fixed damage reduction built in there as well. If foes attack triggers foes special, reduces damage dealt to unit by X times 3 during combat, excluding AoE special. So it all works off of this clash effect of the number of movement tiles, basically. But the more movement tiles, not only is it going to increase the overall stat buffs to attack and defense, it's also going to increase the efficacy of the damage reduction that he enjoys, the fixed value damage reduction. And then, Divine Strength for the B slot. So his own unique B slot skill removes the condition to transform. So that's not going to be an issue for him. After start of turn effects trigger on player phase or enemy phase, neutralizes any penalty on unit. Does not apply to penalty effects that are applied at the same time. Inflicts attack defense -5 on foe and unit. Makes a guaranteed follow-up attack during combat. Restores 7 HP to unit after combat. If unit's attack at the start of combat is greater than or equal to foe's attack at the start of combat, -5. Inflicts attack defense -6 on foe during combat. If unit's defense at the start of combat is greater than or equal to foe's defense at the start of combat, -5. Inflicts attack defense -6 on foe during combat. So if both of those proc, it's going to be -12 in combat to attack and defense, not including the attack and defense -5 that it innately has. So this skill has attack and defense -17, all things like triggering, right, alone in this skill, in addition to the healing and then the penalty nullification. Yeah, I mean, that's going to be a huge boon. That's going to allow him to do a lot of damage. It's also going to increase his tankiness a significant way. Beast Threaten for the C slot. At start of turn, inflicts defense -7 and panic on foes within 3 rows and 3 columns of unit through their next actions. At start of turn, if any foe is within 3 rows or 3 columns, grants attack +6 to unit. And also, if special cooldown count is at its max value, grants special cooldown count -1 to unit. Okay, so he's going to have absolutely absurd amounts of in-combat debuffs on the enemy defense and attack. And then he's also going to have so many activated buffs on himself, enhanced. He's going to have penalty nullification through Divine Strength, and that's all going to be boosted by Bonus Doubler as well. So he's going to have an absurd amount of in-combat buffs, an absurd amount of in-combat debuffs on the enemy that's really going to be destructive. A Healing Hand who uses his body as the ultimate blade and shield. He can increase his and his allies' bonuses. Yeah, so that whole +3 thing coming into effect, and then Bonus Doubler being thereby also further enhanced by the fact that he's getting that +3. He really is going to be both a blade and a shield. He's going to be incredibly tanky. He's also going to hit very, very hard by debuffing the... Look at that, -22 and -26 to his defense and attack for Freyr, respectively. Like, that's enormous. Like, absolutely enormous. Yeah, it's huge. The sprite is super cool, by the way. The beast transformation, really neat. Looks great. Yeah, and just that absurd amount of debuffs on the enemy is something else. It certainly is. So, alright, so taking a look here, Eikþyrnir on colorless is going to be paired with Mythic Loki as well as Legendary Alir. That's really stacked. That's ridiculously stacked. That's a very, very strong showing for colorless. Tons of value there. All three of them very, very recent heroes that are incredibly powerful in their own niches. Very, very strong. So for green, with Heiðrún, we've got Legendary Camilla, of course, and then we've got Attuned Azura. So pretty appropriate, but 2 Fates units alongside Heiðrún. So obviously green, very, very strong showing as well. I'm not sure if it's as stacked as colorless, is it? It's close. It's very close. Obviously, with my own personal bias, it wins. But I think, like, just trying to look at it objectively, I think they're definitely very even. Colorless might edge out by just a little bit. And then for red, we've got Kvasir, we've got Legendary Nana, and Legendary Alencia. That's really good, too. That is a really good color. Yeah, no, that's fantastic, actually. I don't know if it's necessarily at the level of the green and the colorless just because they're that stacked, but it's close. Like, red is really close to the other two. For blue, we've got Deirdre, we've got Sita, and we've got Mozu. It's definitely the weakest color. Like, as a whole, like, I would definitely say it's the weakest color. That's not to say that it's a weak color. Certainly not, but I just think the others are just so weighted in what they have that blue kind of pales in comparison. But again, that notwithstanding, that does mean that there's just a ton of value on this banner. The 2 new Mythic Heroes, in addition to their colors, fully represented with really stacked, powerful characters and limited characters with a lot of value. Yeah, I mean it's a big one. It's a big one. So. Yeah, so again, starting on the 26th of July and going for about a little over 2 weeks, Heiðrún and Eikbyrnir are going to be available, and yeah, their banner is a very strong showing, Again, I said at the very beginning of this video, I'm going to be summoning on this one to the Spark, that's a given, and I'm going to be summoning on green pretty much exclusively. I'm actually really happy that Heiðrún is green because I like her design a lot, and so I can maybe kill 2 birds with 1 stone here by summoning on green and getting, fingers crossed, some Camillas in addition to Heiðrún. I didn't check to see if you are able to spark multiple times on this banner. It'll tell us. Usually when there are multiple Mythic Heroes, you can spark more than once, but it does not look like that's the case. So it looks like you're only able to spark once with the Fey Pass here. So gotta be choosy then. But let me know down below if you called this one. I actually called Eikþyrnir. I did not call Heiðrún as a hero this time. Let me know if you guessed what the banner was going to be, what you think of the banner and the new characters as a whole, if you're going to be summoning for them, who your targets are going to be, what colors you're going to be pulling on. Hopefully you all enjoyed the video. If you did, please consider leaving a like, commenting down below, subscribing to the channel for more. We thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, let's protect those skies.